Hey guys, what's going on? Sadiq. Welcome to Experiences with Sadiq. Season 2. Experiences with Sadiq is about all things real estate. A show where communication is key, advocating for the people is bliss, and knowledge, it's inspiring. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the show. And oh yeah, don't forget to follow me on all my social media platforms. Whether you're buying or selling a home, I'm that guy. Let's go! What's going on, guys? It's your man Sadiq. Welcome to Experiences with Sadiq. So a lot of you guys been asking, why don't I interview Kyle Seyboth, right? And some of you guys, the answers that I gave you guys was because I wasn't ready to interview the man. The man's been doing this thing for quite some time. And when I started this whole entire podcast, I didn't feel like I had, the tenacity or the privilege, should I say, to interview a person who's constantly busy, who produces like hell, So if you guys don't know who Kyle is, this guy's a monster in the streets when it comes to real estate. The guy, he's a beast, all right? So luckily today, I had the opportunity to interview the man himself and to talk about what's going on in today's market, and this is going to be a great interview. It's an interview that everybody's been waiting for, and guess what? The time is now. Let's get it popping. It's your man Sadiq. Kyle, what's up, baby?
Hey, what's up, man? That's a lot of pressure, but we got this. We got this.
Nah, definitely, man.
I appreciate being on, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. How's everything? Talk to me a little bit. I want to get, not only for myself to get to know you, but the people really want to get to know Kyle. Kyle's world, where Kyle came from, how Kyle transpired to who Kyle is today.
Oof, I mean, there's a lot in there, right? So be careful what you wish for. So, I mean, at the end of the day, came in the game like 10 years ago, been doing this for a while, just have a different mindset. It's really about mindset thing. That's a big factor. Was 9 to 5 for 5 to 10 years, did that for a while, then started transitioning into this part-time and really liked it, enjoyed it, and started to get pretty good at it. And then kept getting better and better and better, and now got to a point where, there's always room to improve, but really at a point where I have a good foundation to continue to grow.
Nice, amazing. Where you from?
So I'm from Seaconcord, Massachusetts.
Born and raised?
Born and raised, yeah.
Wow, nice. And you just mentioned that you worked a 9 to 5, you were doing real estate part-time. A lot of people say that real estate is one of those things that you can't do part-time because it's really a full-time gig, right? Meeting clients and all that. How did that work out for you?
I mean, I'm going to say that's not true. You can do it part-time. I did it. I did 191 transactions part-time. I had a 9 to 5 every single day, Monday through Friday. 5:01 came, I ran out the door, showed houses till 8 o'clock at night. Saturday, Sunday, I was grinding. I was up till 12, 1 a.m. getting everything done. I didn't have as big of a staff at that time, so a lot of it was on me, right? But at the end of the day, people are going to tell you that whatever it is can't be done. That's in their minds. That doesn't mean that you can't do it. That means that either, number one, they can't do it, or number two, they're hoping that you believe that you can't do it, so you don't go ahead and do it. So I would say to you, you can do anything that you put your mind to and you have the skill set behind, but as far as part-time real estate, you can have 2 full-time gigs. Last time I checked, there's 24 hours in a day. If you're working 8 hours a day at a 9 to 5, you've got the other 16 hours to go do something else. Now that's on you how you spend that 16 hours. I don't believe in sleeping that much. I think sleep is for losers. I think sleep is something you can do when you die. At the end of the day, I did not have to sleep a lot during that period of time because I sacrificed sleep for success. And that's one of the things a lot of people don't. They want to be a beast. They want to be really good. But when it's time to do what you have to do and the sacrifices you need to make, they're not willing to do it. And I think that's the big difference. If you're willing to sacrifice, if you're willing to put the time in, if you're willing to say, I've got 16 other hours to make a business out of what I'm doing, then you'll make it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you're willing to work 9 hours, you only have 1 hour left. So what are you doing with the rest of that time? You know what I mean?
It's crazy that you said, because even myself, when I started the whole real estate game, I had to sacrifice a lot, and I do believe in as entrepreneurs, right?
Right, of course.
the notion of sacrifice is a big thing, right? Just the word sacrifice itself is a big thing. It's huge to us because that's how success unfolds, right? And as we're moving and we start understanding the sacrifices that we're making, or we start understanding the trajectory that we're trying to head, we realize that in this world, or in this world of real estate, or this business, or this world of our entrepreneurship that we live, you know, a lot of things, you know, we have to bypass just to focus on the main priority, which is basically making sure our family's good. And in order for our family to be good, we have to make sure that we're doing the things to be able to take care of them. So I totally get the notion of that. I want to ask you, Kyle, right? You've made a lot of sacrifices on your own, and I understand based on what I've seen, right? You're more focused on your clients, right? Building your clients. You've been in the business 10 plus years about now. Mm-hmm. The industry is crazy. You know, it's a seller's market. Sellers have the opportunity to make top dollar, right? From your experience being in the game for some time and going through the roller coasters and the change in the industry, what advice will you give to buyers out there that are in such a competitive field, first? And second, what advice will you give sellers out there who are hesitant to sell their property, not realizing this is the opportunity to sell their property? I know it's a lot.
No, so the buyer side, at the end of the day, right? I tell my buyers before we even walk in the first house, take emotion, throw it out the window. You can't get attached to any of these houses. You have to go in every single house like it's a business transaction. There's a potential that you don't get it. There's a very high probability your offer does not get accepted. What does that mean? Put multiple offers on multiple properties. What does it mean? Be willing to forego inspection. When you do that first walkthrough, understand what you're getting into. Understand that you may not see this house again till you close. This is your opportunity. Number two, have the biggest deposit you can possibly put down so you have more skin in the game. Understand that down payment and financing makes sense. If you're FHA but you can go conventional, you better go conventional because you have a better opportunity, right? So as a buyer, you have to be super aggressive, know your payment, have your approval ready to go, and pull the trigger on a whim. You don't have time to go back and think about it. You don't have time to think about, oh, does this number make sense for me? Is this payment? You have to have that all figured out. And you have to have the mindset and mentality, if you don't get it, on to the next.
Yeah.
It's on to the next. It's okay. You're not going to get it. Yeah. There's a very high probability you don't get that property. So move on and find the next one and keep looking. But don't get to a point where you get so fatigued, you quit. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest problem. A lot of people quit because they can't mentally take it. Yes. They're not mentally strong enough to take rejection. And one thing that I've learned is being an entrepreneur, starting my own business, starting from zero, starting from scratch, never doing it. Let's be straight. I got into this game, never sold. I didn't have a family in real estate. Didn't know anything about nothing about real estate. The biggest problem I see people have is that they have the mindset that they're not going to have problems. The biggest problem you can have is believe you're not going to have problems. If you know problems will happen, you just battle through them. Yeah. You keep it moving. There's problems every day. And the bigger you get, the more problems you have because there's more people relying on you. You're relying on more people, and there's just more volume. Yeah. Like anything, I hear, oh, you know, he's busy. Okay, I'm busy. Okay, that's okay, right? And there's oh, this happened, or I had to deal with them when the seller didn't get the tenants out. I hate that guy. Okay, so let's pump the brakes. First of all, when you do so many transactions, there's going to be one or two that can be messed up. And a lot of the time it's not our fault. But as agents, we need to say, hey, Sadiq had it wasn't him, it was the seller. It is what it is. Let's keep it moving. Yeah. I'm not gonna blame him because there was a problem with his seller. I'm not gonna blame him because there was a problem with the buyer. And that's one thing a lot of agents can't do, is they can't understand that you're not selling me the house and you're not buying the house. This has nothing to do with you and I. We're the intermediaries between the buyer and the seller. Our fiduciary is to the buyer or to the seller. But don't get mad at me if the buyer gets denied a loan. I'm not the one cutting his checks. It's not my credit score. You know what I mean? We can only do so much. And that's a big problem I see in this market, and I see with agents all the time. To get off on a tangent there, but come back to your second question for sellers.
Before you even answer that second question, it's so crazy how that's so upfront. That's real, right? Because a lot of buyers, they don't understand that aspect of it, right? They're looking at it from a standpoint of, all right, I can't get this house. They go to the next one. I can't get that house. They go to the next one. I lose. What the hell? They're giving up, you know?
Right.
So it's crazy because they really, over the course of time, the more offers that get denied from them, you know, they start losing faith in the whole transaction. Not only do they lose faith in the whole transaction, they lose faith in the agent that they're working with. It's nuts.
100%. It's not our fault. So here's what I have buyers say this to me all the time. Well, you know, I came with you because I know you got like the inside track or the inner circle or the inner. Look it. If your offer, right, you as the buyer, is 40 grand less than the other offer, it doesn't matter how much the other agent likes me. It doesn't matter how much people want to be like me or do whatever. It's irrelevant. It comes down to dollars and cents and terms. So at the end of the day with the buyers, you can't have a defeatist attitude. You have to have an attitude where we're going to continue to climb, we're going to continue to fight, we're going to scrape, claw, and do whatever it takes to get a house. And I put together on average for buyers probably anywhere between 5 and 10 deals a week for buyers. So anyone that tells you it's not possible, that's another lie. Yeah. That's another misconception. It's people that want you to quit because it doesn't work for them. It's agents that want you to feel like you can't get your buyer house because it doesn't work for them. It's possible, it's doable, have a strategy, figure it out. Maybe look at something that's a little over your price range, that's been on the market a little long, so you can get them down. There's a million different ways to do this, but it's us as agents that have to provide that, right? We have to provide them with the ability to have that mindset and understanding that the market, it's achievable, it just takes a little more time.
No, it's so real because I've always wanted to have the opportunity to sit down with you from an expertise standpoint, right? Because your knowledge is so sharp. You're a person who does 600 deals a year, which is crazy. And a lot of people don't know that unless you're in the real estate industry to really understand the level and the capacity of the production that you do, you know? And I truly respect that a lot because it takes a lot for one man to be able to manage not only a team of people, but also to manage clients. You're talking about 500-600 deals a year. Yeah. That's a lot.
Every year.
I came from the auto every year. I came from the auto industry. There are people that only do 12 cars a year. Some 100 cars. If you're really good, you're probably doing about 200 plus a car a year. You're doing homes, 500-600 homes, transactions a year. That's absurd. All right. And I respect you for that. And tons of respect, tons of love for that. Now, in terms of the seller's aspect of it, a lot of sellers are nervous based on what's going on in the market. They don't realize there's an opportunity to take advantage of listing their home and receiving top dollar for it. From your knowledge and expertise, I guess for the people that's out there who are potential homeowners who are on the edge of trying to figure out if they should sell their home or not, how would you go about advising them on the proper steps or the decision making to be able to move forward and sell their home?
So two things. So the first thing you talked about was the ability and capacity to get to that number and help that many people. Number one, it's not fair to say, it's unfair to not include that I've developed a really good team of support around me. We have a really, really good customer service based team that knows that I believe the client is always right, the client is most important, and we all share that same mentality. So in the last 4 or 5 years, we've built out this phenomenal team of individuals that understand and share that same method, the same process, and the same goal-setting activity. So that's one thing I got to make sure that people understand, that the way we're set up is yes, I'm the CEO, I'm the owner, I'm the rainmaker. I know every single client. They're all my clients. They're my sellers and my buyers. There's no other agent that makes up that number. But the support has been amazing. And the support from the staff behind me, that's been truly remarkable. And that's the incredible part that helps me get to that point.
Amazing.
So that's the first thing to hit on. The seller part, I talk to sellers like this. I say, look, if you have any inclination to sell in the next 1 or 2 years, it's an absolute no-brainer. You need to do it now. The market's never been better for sellers. We'll never see a situation with less inventory, lower interest rates, more buyer demand, and less competition. The second thing is markets go in cycles. We're at the end of a 10-year cycle. We're 2 years beyond 10-year cycle. Yeah. What that means is at some point we'll plateau and we'll start to go down. So if you can withstand another 10 years down, 10 years up, 20 years, then hold it. But if it's a headache, if it's a property you need to sell within the next 4 or 5 years, if you had a thought of selling in 1 to 2 years, there's no better time than now. Why guess at what it could be when I know what it is? There's no reason for us to guess. We know what we have in front of us. We know the market's never been better. We know the average home price has never been higher. It's an absolute no-brainer. So sellers, the most important thing is not curb appeal, is not paint, not kitchen, not bathrooms. Get the thing on the market and get it on now. This is the time. This is that time that we're going to look back on in 15, 20 years and say, oof, I wish I sold. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of regret in there from people that held these multis that are going to lose them because they didn't sell them. Because they were greedy. They thought it was going to go up a little more. They thought that they had more time. Sell it now. Get rid of it. Get off of these properties. Like, this is it, man. Unless you have to sell to buy, and if you have to sell to buy, you can always put the contingency for suitable housing. So there's a million different options. Yeah. But people sometimes don't know what they don't know. They don't know the value of their homes. I meet with sellers every day. Every day I meet with a seller, they're shocked what their home could fetch, right? They don't know the process. And the biggest thing, if I need to sell to buy, as a seller, I don't even know how that works. So I'm not educated enough to know the process. Without that education, I can't make a decision. Without being able to make a decision, I can't sell my house. Exactly. So those are the things that I try to do. I add value through education. I add value through understanding the market and explaining the market, and then the process of what the market looks like in a 10-year period. And where are we right now?
Yeah, there's a key factor that you mentioned while you explained that whole notion. A lot of sellers, one of the things that I've realized that sellers are scared it's not that they're scared. They question, if I put my home on the market, right, where am I going to go to next, right? They don't understand that there are certain contingencies that us realtors could put in place to protect their current situation. And what I mean by their current situation, their current home that they own, right? It goes back to what you're saying. One of the contingencies is subject to finding suitable housing. And if sellers understood that their investment could still be protected, they should be more than open to be able to sell their house. Take the chance, because one, it goes back to what you're saying. They don't know what their house is worth. They don't know what the market's like. But by educating them, it brings value to them. They might be more inclined to want to sell.
Dude, think about this, man. If I need to sell my house to buy, I don't know, even if I tell you, I say, Sadiq, your house is worth $300,000. That's great that I told you that. The house is worth what someone's willing to pay for it.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day, if I have to sell to buy, why not put yourself in a position where you're locked in on the sale? You know what you're going to get, and then you can start to look to buy. Meaning that if I put the house on for $300 and I get $325, now instead of looking to buy at $450, I can go to $475 because I made 25 grand more. And it allows me time to go and find it. And guess what? If I don't find it, we don't sell it.
Facts.
But here's the other part. The buyer doesn't have any other options. They'll just wait. You have all the leverage. The seller holds all the cards. If I'm selling a house, I'm like, wait till I find something. Fine.
The ball's in their court.
Yeah, what do you want? Okay, I didn't find anything. What are you going to do? And the buyer, you think the buyer going to go find something else? No, they're going to sit there and wait. And that's the part that you need to be able as an agent to explain that. And that's why we have no inventory, because agents can't explain that. We're getting in a position where at the end of the day, you're letting the client or the consumer dictate. There you go. The client's dictating the whole conversation.
Yeah, in the car business, we have this saying. There's two sayings that I want to touch upon. One, the car business, and one, the real estate business. In the car business, when I was in the auto industry, there was a saying that Shoot, it was just on top of my head. I totally forgot. I'll get back to that. But in real estate, there's an ask for every toilet, from what I was always told, right?
There's an ask for every seat. There's
an ask for every seat. Thank you. And I totally believe in that. As a seller, you should know that if you're putting your house on the market, no matter what the situation is, there's somebody out there. There's so many buyers out there.
So let me just help you with that saying, because I've been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
That saying I used probably 1,000,000 times when it was a buyer's market. So there's an ask for every seat, right? It means that there's someone, somewhere, someday, somehow going to buy this house. In a seller's market, there's so many asks for these seats, it doesn't matter. So like that saying works. I had that on repeat, and I was like, say it again, because the stuff wasn't moving like that. In this market, there's so many asses, there's only one seat. It doesn't matter.
No, facts.
So it's just it's a total different market. I've never witnessed something like this. We probably won't for a while. It's going to continue for probably the next 12 to 24 months.
It's crazy, because I was predicting maybe even sooner. I'm thinking like within the next year it's going to possibly change. But once again, I'm not a true.
I just don't see how. I'll tell you this. I don't see how it can happen unless you see a ton of foreclosures hit. And I think the banks are too hesitant to like open everything up. I think they're going to trickle them in, because I think there's a ton in forbearance right now, and there's a lot of that had the moratorium that will not be able to hit the market till it's lifted, which is July, which I think they extend to September. So I think at the end of the day, that has to really come to fruition. Rates will have to go up, and the public, the public is always behind. So what I mean by that is, by the time the public says, oh, my house is worth a ton of money,
it's going to be too late.
It's going to be too late, because everybody's going to do it. And the houses, obviously, when more houses are on the market, your house isn't as high. So it's going to be too late. So you're going to see foreclosures hit. You're going to see short sales start to come. And the public going to be too late. And that's when you're going to see it all. And I think we're probably a little further. I hope it's a year, but I think it's a little further. I see it going all the way through next year and starting to hit next fall. That's when you'll start to see it really change.
Interesting. Like, oh man, it's crazy how, like, just seeing things. It's almost like you're on the high horse, right? And you're seeing you're looking at everything below, right? And you're like, wow, this is potential what could happen. Now, how do you think agents should pivot, as they're moving through this situation of a seller's market, trying to help their clients out? Before we even close out, because it's very important that as we're doing all this, right, you provide a value for buyers and sellers, right? But agents that are out there who's helping these individuals, how should they pivot with their clients to become successful and to provide the expertise they need for their clients?
I mean, first of all, as an agent, unfortunately, a lot of agents aren't really students of the game. They're not like paying attention to this as much as they should be. I take this very serious, and I'm paying attention to everything. Low end, high end, mid range, multis, singles, condos, everything that's out there. Really not just doing it, but watching it and saying, when is this starting to move a little bit? And I think as agents, we need to educate our clients and let them know, hey, look, I see it kind of status quo. I'm not seeing, even though I'm seeing more houses, we're still seeing 20, 30 people at a house. It's the ability to understand when the market shifts and have that feel for it. And be able to let the client know and let your buyers know, hey, look, because this is one thing I tell people all the time. My slowest month every year is July. July is awful for me. I wish it didn't exist. I hate it. I can't stand it. The 4th of July is the biggest. I cannot stand the 4th of July. Everybody goes away and no one wants to do anything. I'm sitting with my thumb in my butt like, come on, man. Like, what happened? We're going out. Every year I'm like, we're going out of business. That's it. Close the doors. It's a wrap. But July, I tell buyers, I say, look, based on the last 10 years, it's the slowest month I've ever had. So let's look. Let's beat everyone to the punch. Let's be the buyers looking the 3rd of July, the 2nd of July, the 5th of July, right? So we have a better chance. Yeah, maybe there's not 30 people. Maybe there's 10. Maybe there's 12. You know what I'm saying? So like that's where you got to kind of give that, you got to add that value. The other thing is when school starts. That week when school starts, it slows down a little bit. Hey, I've been looking for a while. I'm a buyer. Let's get in front of it, right? I'm a seller, right? I'm a seller. Let's understand the market. What's the best time to put it on the market? Let's be a little early. Let's be a little, you know what I mean? Let's go on in the fall sometimes. There's so many different things to do, but we got to be able to explain that.
Exactly. It's crazy. So you guys know, right? I've been trying to interview this guy so he could provide some true essential value for you guys, because it was very important because of the situation in the market that we're in. I think everybody needs to gain the knowledge of somebody who's been doing it, and somebody who I would consider a monster in this industry, right? A beast, you know, and just to be able to have you break down the logistics, right? To help buyers, to open the buyer's eye, to help sellers open their eyes, and also to give agents like myself and others that's in the industry some knowledge and expertise in regards to how we should operate or how things should move. Truly appreciate that. Kyle, if you don't mind, explain to the people how, one, they should get a hold of you if they have any questions or concerns, because obviously, you know, there might be questions out there and people are going to want to know more from you and gain some knowledge. Talk to them. How can people get a hold of you? What's your contact info? How can they find you? Talk to the people.
I mean, pretty easy. My phone rings every second, so you just be another call every second. You can call me or text me, and honestly, I love helping people out. If it's just a simple question, if it's something regarding real estate, whatever that is, you could just call me. My number is 508-726-3492, and that's another thing I got like on auto. Like, it just comes out. But yeah, you could text or call me anytime. Facebook, social media, all that stuff, we're on there. We respond to messages. Every email, phone call, or text gets responded to that day.
Quick.
Every single day. It does not matter.
Yeah.
And typically my turn time on a text is like 2 seconds.
Wow.
Unless I'm obviously in the middle of something. But yeah, no, so you guys can always reach out to me.
You guys know what it is, your man Sadiq, where communication is key, advocating for the people's bliss, and knowledge is inspiring. If you follow me on my YouTube page, please don't forget to like or subscribe and share all my content. Until next time, love you guys, love, peace, and happiness. Thank you,
All right, bro. Good stuff, man.